Hi everyone. Welcome to Blood, Sweat and Beers, a podcast presented by SportsKhabri. Today we'll be talking about the FPL results of the previous week. We'll also be discussing the coming game week and in regards with the FPL. And today we have our two experts with us, Rahul Saha and Rahul Naresh. Unfortunately, our other two experts, Anshuman and Ali, could not join us today. But Rahul Saha has very interesting analysis which he's prepared and which I'm sure our listeners would love to listen to. Hi, both the Rahuls. How's the game week been for both of you?
Very
It's
bad.
been a decent game week with the captain blank. Uh, so, mm, so Liverpool scored 9, Salah blanked, so like that hurt a lot. But other than that, the team scored well. So, and another green arrow. So, all in all, you can let's move on to the next game week. Nothing more to add than that.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that was a very interesting. It almost became like a trivia this week. Liverpool scoring 9 goals, and so many people have Salah as their captains in their FPL teams, and Salah drew a blank out of 9 goals. That's an unimaginable thing. But Naresh, you just said that it's been a bad week. Why?
I mean, both my big hitters blanked. I had Jesus, who was my captain, who blanked, and Salah blanked, of course, after Liverpool scored nine. It's kind of hard to take.
Absolutely. I didn't have Salah in my team, so it wasn't a loss for me personally, even though I didn't do that well this week. Ended up with, I think, 49 points or something after having a great week 2 weeks back. It's been a little downhill, but hopefully, I'll be listening to you guys' analysis today and maybe I would make some changes. So, quickly, let's just have a look at how the teams of our expert performed this week. First of all, let's just talk about the people who are not here. If you can see Ali's creative, let's see how our brother Ali did. So Ali's final total was 69, which is actually quite impressive. And so he was one guy who stuck with Alexander Arnold, and it's paid dividends for him. He scored 17 points to Arnold. His defense actually performed pretty well. What do you guys think, both the Rahuls? James, Saliba, Alexander Arnold, Cancelo, they gave him a total of 32 points. Saha, what do you have to say on Ali's team?
Yeah, basically, I have the similar backline. Like can Trent and Cancelo, I have them both. Saliba got like I'm an Arsenal fan, but still Saliba got a lucky assist. Like it was more of an accident than an assist.
Yeah.
And yeah, Cancelo is unlucky. Like City had barely conceded big chances, but they still shipped 2 goals. So that's a bit unlucky. Other than that, yeah, for our defenses haven't been is firing well so far this season. So this is a good welcome change.
Interesting. And Naresh, what do you think?
No, same, similar backline. I had Trent in there. I had Reece James. Instead of Saliba, I had Gabriel in my team. He scored the goal. Yeah, and I had Walker instead of Cancelo. Pretty much the same thing.
So let's have a look at Anshuman's team now. Anshuman isn't here with us today, but let's have a look at his team, how much he scored. So Anshuman finished with a final total of 56 points, which is also, I think, average. And he had 5 defenders playing, and his defense was also pretty much similar, but he had 2 Liverpool defenders, which has really helped him gain his increasing his points. He played only with Jesus and scored 1 point. Naresh, what do you think? What kind of changes do you think you see Anshuman making for the next week?
I think not many in terms of a backline. In terms of the backline, I think I'd still, if I was Anshuman, I would stick with what I have. It looks pretty solid to me. Same with his midfield. I don't think I'd change much in this team. Maybe play the extra striker, but yeah, apart from that, it looks like a solid team to me going into the next game week.
But Rahul, won't you drop Robertson? Like he hasn't been delivering, like, and it has in some way also affected Mo Salah's output. So like wouldn't it be like better to get rid of a 7 million asset who hasn't been performing to at least to a decent level? Yes, let's say like he got 9 points against Bournemouth, but they are facing Newcastle next, which would be let's say like Liverpool have a lesser chance of keeping a clean sheet against them than Bournemouth, and he hasn't been contributing in offensively as well, Robertson. So like that could be a change he could look into, Anshuman.
Yeah, I
Well,
think yeah, definitely something you could consider. I think if I were him, I wouldn't mind doubling up on a Liverpool in on the Liverpool defense, or even maybe like a Van Dijk for Robertson, somebody who could probably get you the odd goal. I think he's just kept him in for the clean sheets. He's really expecting the clean sheets from the two Liverpool fullbacks.
well, knowing
Ironically,
Anshuman,
this was their first clean sheet.
Knowing Anshuman, I'm sure that he has his interesting reasons, which I hope he was here. We would have loved to hear his reasons. So quickly moving on to Naresh's team next. Naresh has had a bad week according to him. So let's see how bad it was. 57. You scored more than Anshuman, Naresh. How are you calling it a bad week? I mean, yeah, on average maybe it's not that good, but I think it's still pretty decent
The front line,
considering. Yeah,
front line.
actually, yeah, your front line just sucked this week, and but your defense did actually quite well, and you had Walker in place of Cancelo, and it really worked for you. That's what I believe. Saha, what do you think? What do you make of Naresh's team?
I think yeah, he had a bad game week, but that doesn't equate to be having a bad team. Like
Yeah,
we also had so some of his assets misfired, but that would keep on going for the rest of the game. So I think like he has a decent playing 11, although like r- who do you have in a bench? Like there's Neto.
There's Neto, there's Dina and Madison. Madison didn't play this game
Mm-hmm.
week.
Yeah, I think yeah,
Hoping
you have decent enough bench depth as well. So I don't think like, there's not much to change. Like
I think
Shraddha, yeah,
Antonio is the
like he
only
has a
one.
good enough.
Antonio is the only one.
Yeah, yeah,
Skamaka
you
started.
can get rid of
I
him.
would, I
Yeah,
would probably, I would suggest one small change for you. I think you should get one of Haaland, Nunes, or Kane in your team, depending on the form. But yeah, that's something we can discuss later. Let's move to Saha's team. Let's see, Saha's been very happy, and
not overly happy. The one thing that other
of
than
course,
Salah
I
ranking,
think.
the yeah, go on.
Sorry. No. Go on, go on, go on.
Yeah, I was just saying that other than Salah blanking, what hurt me the most is that if you remember our last podcast, FPL podcast, in that team I had Kukurea in place of Yao Cancelo, and I had Cancelo as my
Yeah,
first sub. But
yeah.
15 minutes before the game week 4 deadline, I had a close Crystal Palace news correspondent who tweeted out that Zaha would not be playing. That means, I thought that since Zaha would not be playing down that side, Cancelo would be, be able to go further up the pitch since Palace are lighter on that side. But then, variance stuck, and then I got just 1 point from him.
I
That's
think
how the
yeah.
split works.
When Kukurea scored this his goal involvement, I was actually thinking that he is in your team and it will help you score. But I'm surprised that you took him out because that's not
Yeah, I
something you
just
mentioned in the
yeah,
last discussion as well.
yeah, it was a knee-jerk decision just 15 minutes before the deadline.
That happens. Let's have a look at my team, and I played a wild card this week, and it didn't really work for me. I finished with 49 points, so I've scored lesser than all the experts. It teaches me one thing: I should be listening more often to you guys and what you guys are saying. But I think what hurt me the most was my forwards, except for Kane, who scored, and even my midfield, like all the players, Rodrigo, Bowen, who played well, even my backline, Trippier, he didn't and obviously like one thing which hurt me the most was that I had to take Ward-Prowse out of my team because he was playing against my team, and I played with an extra defender, and my defender was supposed to be Anson, but he also ended up not playing. So Neko Williams came in the team, and obviously Forrest conceded. But yeah, in terms of I think changes, I don't think I'll be changing anything this week, at least for the midweek game, because I'm still hoping for the transfer deadline. I'm waiting for the transfer deadline because there's a lot of hustle bustle going on. That is something we will be discussing very soon in our transfer podcast. But the last 2 3 days, like all of us football fans know, are the most firing days in a way. Like things are just haywire right now. So I want things to settle down a bit before I make any more changes. So my team is going to remain the same. Any thoughts on my team, guys?
Can you just quickly bring it up again? I just had to look one thing.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah,
who are
I
your,
just
midfield?
have
Like who
one
were your
quick
midfield assets?
so right now
The
I
all
have
Bowen.
five.
Rodrigo, De Bruyne,
Bowen.
Bowen, and Ward Prowse.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just a
think
little unsure about
you should get rid
Bowen.
of Bowen. Yeah, like he is, not doing, like West Ham in general are not doing great,
Exactly.
and that has also affected him. So inevitably, you are just wasting your 8 millions on him. Instead of less, you should either go for a Saka or
Yeah.
Madison or Madison. Like they are better option, or you can also go opt for either a Bernardo Silva or a Ilkay Gundogan. Like they are also very good options
Yeah.
in
I
a
think yeah.
Manchester City
Is
team.
are they in that price range?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Gundogan is 7.6 and I think Bernardo is 6.8, but he's due a price rise, so I think he will be 6.9 by tomorrow morning.
Wow, wow. I can't believe he started at 6.8. But
No, he was
yeah, so
started as 7 million, but his price dropped because initially people
okay.
picked him, but he didn't start because of the Barcelona links, so his price dropped to 6.8.
So that's something we have something very interesting we have for our listeners today. That Rahul has come up with a very interesting data of the price change predictions that he foresees happening, which is really going to help our listeners because that can help them make changes on the go of how when they should make those changes. We'll be talking about that soon, but first let's have a look at our winners from our own league, the beer sweat and the blood sweat and beer league that we have going on in the FPL, and let's have a look at our winners. So we have three people who are the joint winners, and these guys have scored the same number of points. So first of all, we have O'Brien. He has scored a massive 101 points. And if I quickly run through his team, he's got Allison, he's got Alexander Arnold, he's got Neco Williams, he's got Van Dijk, Cancelo, Trossard, Bernardo, Martinelli, Kulusevski, Haaland, and Mitrovic. So obviously Haaland worked for him pretty well. And any thoughts, Naresh?
Yeah. I think everybody who captained Haaland this week, kudos to you guys. That really worked out. Scoring a hat trick. I mean, I didn't love any of his goals. I think the last one was a brilliant goal. But
Yeah, a
apart from
good
that,
finishes
yeah,
goal. Yeah.
they were good poachers goals. But yeah, everyone who captained Haaland or had Luis Diaz in your side, like really kudos to
Yeah.
you guys for this week.
Yeah, Luis Diaz was such an outlier, right? Like he wasn't much involved in the attacking play. Like he didn't have many shots inside the box. He only had two headers, and those two headers were goals. Like how odd it was, and how bizarre it was.
Swear,
And Whereas
guys.
whereas a Mohamed Salah, he had the second highest XGI after Roberto Firmino, but he didn't get any attacking contribution.
I think it
So
will
this
take
is just
some time.
FPL.
I think it's going to take a couple of weeks for Saha to come over this trauma that he's faced this week of Salah being his captain and drawing a blank in 9-0 again. But let's have a look at our other winners team. It's Ranesh Singh. He's also scored 101 points, and quickly running through his team, he has Martinez as his keeper, Cancelo, Alexander, Van Dijk, and James as his defense. Bernardo Silva, Saka, Luis Diaz, and wow, he had Luis Diaz as his captain. That I must confess that was a left field choice, but what a move, what a stroke for him, how it has worked out because his forward line, if we see quickly, it was Watkins, Haaland, and Jesus. And Watkins obviously didn't do that well. So, Saha, what do you make of this decision of having Diaz as his captain? I think it's a masterstroke and also slightly lucky, maybe, but that was quite a
Yes,
brave
obviously, yes. Yeah, but yeah, see,
decision.
yes, indeed, it was a brave decision. Like if it had backfired, like just like the more like we like our decision of a captaining Salah backfired. Like it could have been similar scenario there, but this is how the game is. Sometimes the decisions pay out, sometimes they don't. Like Rahul also had Gabriel Jesus as his captain, and Jesus has a brilliant game, but he didn't have any contributions. And to just to rub in salt to your wounds, he also had a yellow card. So he 1 point, 2 more points got did, 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 deducted from the players who had captained him. So just there's the
Yeah,
variance in FPL. You just can't help it. And moreover, those people who had Harry Kane as the captain, if Kane
I know,
had
man.
not missed his pen, he would have
I
also
know,
had a hat trick and he would
I
have
know,
scored 16 points, just one below Haaland. So the margins are very small at this stage.
I know, and I would have risen
You would have loved
higher
that.
than. I would have loved that. I would have been this. I think I would have scored the second highest points amongst you guys, and then I could
Yeah,
have been the expert dishing out the advice.
like you would have at least 12 more points if he had not missed
Absolutely,
that pen.
absolutely, absolutely,
Like
absolutely. And would have gone higher than Anshuman and Naresh for sure, and matched Ali if I'm not wrong. So let's have a look at our third winners team, Mr. Yash, and Yash has scored 101 points again, and his goalkeeper is Hugo Lloris, but defenders are Alexander Arnold, Gabriel, Van Dijk, Walker, and his midfield is Luis Diaz, Odegaard, Gundogan, Trossard. Sorry, Trossard. And his forward line is Haaland and Jesus again. So I think out of all the teams that we've seen, this is like one of the most predictable teams, if you will call it,
most template team. Yeah.
Yeah, fair
template
enough.
team.
Fair enough. Fair
Exactly.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's got three players. If I see this correctly, he's got three players from Arsenal, three players from City, two players from Liverpool, one from Tottenham, and that also a goalkeeper. It's just Trossard who's an anomaly here. But I think it's a more template team, and it kudos to you, Yash. It worked out for you. So amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, Naresh, you have something to say
Shretab,
on
yeah, I
this?
was just saying, I still don't think Odegaard is an obvious choice as of yet in
Mm.
this year's FPL. He's
No,
still
Rahul,
tough.
I think he is, but
He is.
against you have to pick and choose the fixtures here. Like
Yeah.
when Arsenal are facing low block teams, like against Fulham, Arsenal had a 50 or like had a 71% possession. I feel so when Arsenal are facing low blocks, I feel in the Premier League there is no better midfielder than Odegaard in breaking those low blocks.
Right, right. Definitely, definitely.
If you are to pick a Odegaard, you can pick him, but you have to pick the fixtures first, like where you can integrate into your squad and where he will be an optimal asset for you.
Right.
And more than that, I believe when we all called it a template team, I think it's because of the choices of the players that he's taken from the
Hmm.
teams. Like having three players
Hmm.
from City, three from Liverpool, two from Liverpool, three from Arsenal. Like it could be a pitfall. One bad game week, and you can just end up with, I don't know, 20 points, 25 points. So you don't
Yeah,
know. You're
quite
just putting
easily.
you're putting a lot of your eggs in one basket. But it worked out for him. So congratulations, Yash. I hope it keeps working out for you. And let's just have a look at our overall leader of our league, the Blood, Sweat, and Beer podcast league that we've got running. His name is Joni. Joni was top last week also, guys. So Joni has been doing pretty well.
Consistency
This
is the key, Shatab.
is absolutely, absolutely. Like just for the Premier League, even for the FPL, you
FPL,
need to be
yes.
very consistent. And he has scored 74 points this week, which is quite nice. He's been staying above average, and his team is Raya as his goalkeeper, Alexander Arnold is his right back, Cancelo, Robertson, Ricky James, and Perisic. Then his midfield line is Martinelli, Salah, Neto, and his forwards are Haaland and Jesus. And like you, Mr. Saha, he had Salah as his captain, so I'm sure he's also in some kind of trauma today. But what one thing which I observed from here and on, which I would like your opinion, is his backline, and his backline is really delivering. I think having a consistent backline is seems to be the key this FPL.
Yes, but if but the if you specifically look at each defender there, like all of them have a good have been on a good run of fixture. Like this is bound to turn. So like there he will have to, at the end, like he, myself, and most of us who are going back heavy at the back, we will have to do adjustments to our back line. I feel post game week 7 and 8, because they are the main fixture swing. As of now, this has been working, has worked out great for him, and for us as well to some extent for this game week. But yeah, this will have to change in the long run if we are to keep the pace with the front runners.
Okay. It's very interesting that you bring up the fixture point that they've been having favorable fixtures and it's changing because today Rahul has very diligently prepared a fixture analyzer for us. And let's just have that creative up and so that we can discuss it for our listeners today. And it's quite informative, guys. I just went through it, and this is something which might just change your decisions according to what players you're changing, not just for this game week, but for the coming big game week, still at least the international break. So, Saha, why don't you just take us through it?
Yeah, so this fixture analyzer basically, it is an overall, ranking of the teams from the from the easiest fixture to the lowest fixture, taking into account both their offensive capabilities and their defensive capabilities. So if you look and I have specifically picked the time frame from game week 5 to 8 because I feel,
Yes.
although myself, you and Ali, we have used a wild card. There are
Yeah.
others like Rahul, Anshuman, and our others FPL managers who are yet to use their wild card. So
Yeah. So
this
many of our
will in a
listeners.
way,
True.
yeah. So this will
Yeah.
in a way be handy to them.
Yeah.
So in other words, to plan this 4 game weeks so that because I see, because what happens is that when you are getting close to your wild card, you become less and less attached to your players and you become less emotional. Like
Mm.
since I have used my wild card, excuse me, since I have now used my wild card, so I am more reserved about making my decisions. But those players who have not used their wild card, this gives them a great chance, of going gung ho in these 4 game weeks, and take a bit of a lead from the rest of the pack. Since this season, unlike the rest of the seasons, there are more template teams. Like uh, this is also down to the fact that us content creators have been sharing our teams as well on the different social media platform, which in turn creates duplicacy of teams. So since this congestion has been there for the first 4 game weeks, and it doesn't seems to be going away. This is a great way to just clear yourself from that mess, and bring in that one or two crucial differential players who might give you that boost, just like let's say Trent Alexander-Arnold did this game week, because a lot of managers transferred in out. He was the highest transferred out defender last game week, if we are not wrong, right? And the same goes for the for the other players. So like if we quickly look at this, we can see, like from game week 5 to 8, Leeds and Brighton, they have the best fixtures. So if our viewers are looking to use that free transfer this game week, or they are looking to use their wild card this game week, like the asset they should be really looking at are the Leeds and Brighton assets, followed by Arsenal, who have better fixtures till game week 8. But after game week 8, I think from game week 9 they have Spurs, followed by Liverpool in game week 12, City game week 15, and a few harsh fixtures in between. And if you closely look at this, I think you will see that teams like Manchester City, United, Liverpool, they are mid-placed here. Simply because while they have one or two, easier fixture in
Easy games.
between,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they have one or two tough fixture also. Like
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Manchester City faces a Tottenham Hotspur in game week 7. So like
Yeah.
so what do you so if you are using this, you can easily plan your transfers in that way. Let's say you will be hesitant to play a Yao Cancelo or a Ivan Perisic in your back line simply because you don't trust both these teams to keep clean sheets against each other. And the same goes for Chelsea and Liverpool fixture in game week 8. So this is the main objective is of this. And also but this how this also helps you is that when, let's say, most of our premium assets are already fixed, right? Let's say
Mm.
your goalkeeper is already fixed. You are not going to change your goalkeeper midway through unless you're using a wild card, right? Then your premium defenders are set. Let's say Yao Cancelo or Trent Alexander-Arnold or let's say Reece James. Your premium midfielder Salah or KDB or a 8 million midfielder Luis Diaz or a Saka or a Mount, they are the Kulusevski, they are there, or then a Kane or a Haaland, they are there. But for the differential ones, for the 5.5, for the 5.6, what you can, this is a great way to, swe- in a better way to frame it, like you can switch between your assets in a better way, because you see, I think Crystal Palace and Brentford face each other in Game Week 6, right? Or
Yeah,
they face each
game
other
week
in Game
five.
Week 5.
Game week five. Yeah,
5.
game week five.
Game Week 5,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
exactly. So and I think we all know Crystal Palace are, although they conceded 4 against City, like against Brentford, they will be decent, right? So
yeah.
if you have Tony in your squad, then you can you can opt to bench him, and then you can choose let's say a Pascal Gross or a Jack Harrison or a, let's say a Rodrigo, who have better fixtures to play or in a 4-4-2 instead of a front three. So this is how it will be helpful for our viewers and for ourselves as well. So
So this is
so I would also like to ask you guys, what are your takes on this?
Yeah, we'll just
Yeah,
start with Naresh there. Naresh, I mean, this is so comprehensive, and for me personally, I would like to say it just makes it so much easier because obviously, like we say, like just earlier, we were discussing how consistency is the key. So you can't just be thinking of making transfers of for this week's sake, and if there is this thing of you plan ahead for the next 2-3 game weeks, especially if you're playing a wild card, as Rahul says. I think this is very informative and yes, Naresh, what do you have to say on this?
yeah, I think it's like Rahul mentioned, rather than those premium defenders or those premium strikers that you have in your team who are set, who are fixed and will not move from your team, this will really help you if you for those smaller assets, the Leeds players, for example, or the Brighton players who you can probably bring in for the next 4 game weeks
Absolutely.
instead of like somebody you have from say Aston Villa who faced like a tough fixture list. You might want to replace Ollie Watkins with a striker from Brighton, like say Danny Welbeck, or you want to bring in somebody from Leeds, maybe a midfield option like Jack Harrison. You can do that, or a Rodrigo. So yeah, that way it's something that I will definitely look at. I will definitely look at this when I'm making my changes for the next 4 game weeks at least.
And absolutely, like if you look at game week 7, City plays Tottenham. This is a game in which we can expect goals being conceded and scored by both the teams. So I'm sure for a match like this, maybe people will not want to go with the defenders of either teams, and they might just want to take players of say Leeds in that game because they face Nottingham Forest, or maybe a United who play Crystal Palace on that day. So this, and for me it is so I'm so glad Rahul you made this. And guys, this is why I keep asking you to follow all the pages of SportsKhabri, because these are things which we will be sharing. You can find this on SportsKhabri's page on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. These things will be there for you to have a look at it whenever you want to have a look and consult with it whenever you're making changes in your team. So thank you so much for this, Rahul. And with this, like when we talk about the fixture changes, with every fixture also comes the price changes. Like we see the price changes going up and down. So in the similar manner, when we talk about the kind of fixtures that the teams are going to face for the next 4-5 game weeks, let's just also have a look at the price change predictions that our expert Rahul has compiled for us, because that is also something we can keep in mind, like with a player who we should go for right now because his price is going to increase, or maybe we should wait for a player because his price might drop right now and might go again. So Rahul, just take us through this again.
Shweta, like I would love to take the credit for everything, but the thing is that like for our viewers, like if they want to get uh, these stats for themselves, they can get it from Fantasy Football Hub. That is from where I have a premium account there. That is from where I've got all these stats. So if our viewers are really interested to get that, they can take a subscription of Fantasy Football Hub. It's really helpful in that regard. So yeah, now back to the
But they should,
price
but they
changes.
should, just one thing, they should thank you for it, because not everyone takes a premium subscription. And I think you've saved a lot of money for a lot of people by taking that subscription for yourself and compiling the data in this way. So kudos on you, to you for that. But yes, let's just get back to this.
Yeah, when you help others, inevitably you're also helping yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so back to the creative. Yeah, so as you can see, these are the top 10 players like who are due a price change before 2 a.m. British Standard Time tonight. So as you
Hmm.
can see, players like Emerson Royal, Xhaka, and other players like they are all due a price change. Now, for people who don't know how this works, is that if you look at the arrows and in your extreme right,
Yeah.
the more number of greens are there means the more frequently this player is getting transferred in, whereas the more number of red arrows are there means the more frequently he's getting transferred out of the of FPL teams. And now just to its left there's a target column. In that column, so what this means is that when a player's target value reaches near 100 or crosses that 100 threshold, that player is due to have a price change. So all these
Okay.
players listed here, they are due a price change before sorry at 2 a.m. British Standard Time tonight. So if our listeners or also you guys are planning to make transfers, and any of these assets are in your mind, like you should consider making your transfers now, because after 2 p.m. British Standard Time there will be a price hike and you might get priced out of these moves. And since there will be two games in 1 week, there's a midweek fixture game week, right? So the price change will be more drastic, and it will be more frequent. So if you have thought about a move and you are limited on your budget, just go for it right now, because the
So
price changes will be really drastic.
So based on that, and
Hmm.
again, this is something that will be available for our listeners and SportsKhabri followers on different platforms. But Naresh, I just want to ask you one thing. Going by the price changes predictions, which player would you suggest that one should definitely go for right now? In their team, if they don't have that player right now.
I think Bernardo Silva.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna take another second to decide. It's between Bernardo Silva and Perisic for me, but I'd say Bernardo Silva. Although you might see a little bit of rotation that City will inevitably do because of the midweek games and the Champions League games coming in, I'd still say Bernardo Silva because he's going to have a few more goal involvements than the other midfielders in this list. For example, like a Granit Xhaka, he's not going to be like we've seen Xhaka play a lot further forward compared to previous seasons, but you're not going to see Xhaka involved in a lot of goals, whereas you
Hmm.
will see Bernardo Silva be involved in a lot more goals. So yeah, somebody
Absolutely.
like a Bernardo, yeah, for sure.
But one thing, Saha, just clear one thing out for me. Maybe I'm just being a noob here, but something I wanted to understand is, so if I say, for example, I have Trippier in my team, and I
Hmm.
bought Trippier for 5 millions, and his price goes down to say 4.8 in the coming game weeks. Okay, so will I get 0.2 million extra, or my price will remain the same, or if I
No,
sell him and
so
buy him again?
yeah, so if you have bought him for 5 million, and if and when you are selling him, if he's priced at 4.8, then inevitably you are losing zero point 0.2 million there.
Yeah, yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, like this is why I'm saying, like, if you are to transfer out someone, to do it quickly, because there will be a price rise. So and I think you have Trippier, but Shweta, I think you should stick with him.
No. I
I think
was just
Liverpool.
asking to clear.
Yeah.
I was asking to clear a
Mm-hmm.
larger. I was just giving an example.
Acha,
I'm
acha,
not going
sure,
to
sure.
get Trippier.
Acha,
I
no.
was not. I'm not going to get Trippier out of my team for sure. So on based on that information which I just received,
Hmm.
and this is something I really enjoy in our podcast. Being only a third time for
Shwetab,
FPL. Yeah,
one more thing to add. But
yeah.
while in price drops, you lose price. But in case of a price rise, let's say
I
you
know it
bought in an
doesn't gain
asset,
for me. Yeah,
yeah, let's say you bought in an asset at 6 million,
yeah.
but you are selling him when he's priced at 6.1. So if you are selling him at 611, your squad will all again retain the base price only 6 million. But if you're
Hmm.
selling him when he's priced at 6.2, well, then you will get zero point 0.1 increase in your overall squad money. Like you will get
Wow,
6.1 instead. So
wow.
it's because price changes happen
it's
in point
it's
twos.
almost like the real transfer market. So this is something I really didn't know, but this is something I really enjoy in our podcast because this just makes FPL so much fun. It is not just something like, so many people wonder what is the excitement behind the FPL. There are so many people don't understand that, but it's like you're actually involved in creating and playing a team, and all these interesting aspects around it make it more fun. And our experts, Rahul, Saha, Naresh, Ali, Anshuman, these guys have been doing it for years, and they come up with these interesting tidbits, which is sure to make FPL more fun for us, our listeners, and all the SportsKhabri fans out there. You know. So, Rahul, just one last question, Saha, one last question based on this analysis of yours. If someone wants to let a player go, who should it be before the price starts dropping?
Like it depends on like who you have in your team, who they are
One of the high
facing.
earners, one of the high earners, one of the favorites,
High
if
on
we
a
talk about.
favorite. So like if we are talking about premium assets,
Yeah.
Hyun Min Song is one you should definitely get rid of. Like he is not in form at all. Like
And you don't see
he's
him
not getting
coming in
into,
form.
yeah, not, not at least not in the immediate future. He might
Mhm.
be in good form post the international break, because you see Kulusevski is not getting rotated, or not playing less minutes, or not getting subbed off. Kane is not getting subbed off. They are both playing in decent levels, whereas Son is the only one who's getting subbed off early in the matches. He's not impacting games, and he hasn't been a dangerous threat at all in this season so far. So if you have a Son, it is time to get rid of him, because there hasn't been a price drop as of yet. So you can get away with it by selling him now. And if you have point 0.2 or point 0.3 extra in your team, you can just jump to a De Bruyne, or you can just go and buy a forward using two transfers. That's your call.
Okay, that's quite interesting, Saha. Thank you for that. And like you guys have already suggested me, I think I'm going to take you up on that advice and remove Bowen from my team because he was also a high earner, even though he's not a premium player. I got him for 8, and I think his points have already dropped. Interesting, a very interesting aspect of FPL which I learned today.
Shweta,
And
he was
yeah,
8.5 at the start.
oh, now he's 8. Wow, so I've already
No,
lost.
I think he's 8.3 or 8.2 as of now.
So I think he might just go down. So I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
time
you
where I
should get
just
him rid of
I
him
should get
ASAP.
rid of him. But talking about that, let's just talk about the points predictions of the next coming weeks. And where we how much points we see our players scoring. So this is the point
Yeah,
prediction which has been made by the by our team, and Salah in game week 5 and 6 is estimated to score 15.6 points, which is Salah. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Is it per game or is it for per game week
no,
or for both the game
this is
weeks?
accumulated. This is accumulated score across the two game weeks.
Okay. So according to Salah, sorry, according to Saha, so I always get confused. You share your name almost with King Salah. So according to Saha, Salah will score around 15.6 points this game week. Son, surprisingly, who Saha says he does not see coming in form anytime soon, is going to score 14.5. Kane is stated at 14.5 again. De Bruyne, by the way, has been giving me two really bad weeks since I've got him in my team. He's given me 4 points. one, I put a stone on my heart and pick up a City player, and then he doesn't work for me. So don't ask me why I hate City. But you say that he's going to score
Shweta,
13 plus.
I told you beforehand, like if you are to go for a City midfielder, you should go for Gundogan, but you still opted to go with De Bruyne.
I mean, that's why I say I know every podcast I learn how much I should be listening to my experts. And but you're saying De Bruyne could score 13.5. So why don't you just take us through the? So this is the first list of our
Yeah,
premium players.
yeah.
Yeah,
So this is actually not my list. So this is also again Fantasy Football Hub's
yeah,
algorithm. So they
yeah,
have, their algorithm have come up with these predictors points based on the oppositions and how the teams are performing
mm,
themselves, all the individual players, and taking in all those all the
mm,
aspects of the game.
mm,
So Salah is, the is predicted to be the highest scoring player across the two game weeks, followed by Son and Kane. Although I doubt Son will be, getting those points. Instead, I feel like for this game week 5, Richarlison might, start ahead of him, because although Conte has been encouraging, saying that that Son has been suffering just because he hasn't been contributing at in the attacking front, and he will always be part of my Spurs attacking department. But there's always a time when you have to question, like, how long are you going to carry a man in your team? Moreover, you in a team that solely relies on counter-attacking football. So that's the main thing here. So this is why I think Son might not, live up to those predicted points. Kane again is a good shout. De Bruyne, the main issue with De Bruyne here is that with Haaland's presence, he is not going that much forward as the number 10. So although he is getting those occasional assist points, he's not getting in those dangerous positions enough to get those goals like he scored, like the 15 goals he has scored last season, because of Haaland's positioning in and around that 18-yard box. This is why I feel like at 12.2 million, De Bruyne is not the man for me. Then Trent Alexander is the fifth highest player according to the algorithm, who should get the most points across the two game weeks. And I think he should. I feel he might even outscore this, because if you look at the Liverpool team, Trent Alexander Arnold is the most creative outlet in the team, and after him is Mo Salah. But since Mo Salah primarily operates in that final third, and the chances of Salah, producing more assists or more big chances is less than a Trent Alexander-Arnold across these two formats, specifically against Newcastle. So yeah, if I am going to, let's say, if I am going to captain someone from Liverpool against for game week 5, I would rather go for a Trent Alexander-Arnold than a Mohamed Salah, and I think that says a lot.
amazing.
Then for the next five players, we have Erling Haaland, and he is, he has less expected points just because of that so-called Pep roulette. Like, it is due to be there. Let's say he starts this game week, but I feel then he will be benched for the Aston Villa game. That is their game week fixture. So this is why he has less predicted points. So and Haaland owners, and this is where Haaland owners should be wary about. And following
Mm,
him is Raheem Sterling, who I feel is the only City attacking asset who has looked good. And if you are looking for a differential at close to that 10 million mark, he's the guy to go. Like, they have good fixtures coming up, so you can take a punt on him, because KDP hasn't been living up to expectations, nor is Salah. So if, like, although I am not going to sell Salah, but if there are people who are looking for differentials, Sterling is a nice differential that people can go for. Then again, yeah, Luis Diaz, the Reece James, Yao Cancelo, again the usual suspects. So nothing much to add here. And if you just
yeah.
go to the final slide here. So yeah, Phil Foden
So
is here,
Phil
but
Foden,
yeah,
but yeah, I just wanted to ask you one thing, based so like
yeah.
quickly, we have Phil Foden, Robertson, Fernandez, Mount, and Welbeck here, but in terms of Phil Foden's form, and this is a question I want to ask Naresh, like when you guys are making your team next, I'm finding one thing very funny when it comes to these point predictions. Uh, let's talk a little about Robert Firmino. He had a massive week, and like none of us had him in our team. None of our winners had him in our team. Not even our league leader doesn't have him in our team. We haven't spoken about him. He's not there in the points prediction as well, where people are with the kind of in the top predictions at least. Why is he not there? And then we have a player like Foden. So when you guys are choosing your team for the next game week, are you going to consider Firmino? If yes, why? If not, then why not?
No, definitely not for me. Simply because of the
Me
fact
neither.
that you have Darwin Nunez coming back for the weekend, you have Jota returning, you have, which means that Firmino is not likely to start games for Liverpool in the long run. If you ever had to pick Firmino, it was for these 3 game weeks, and that's it. You cannot have him beyond this because it just does not make sense. Foden is a better long term option for sure, ahead of Roberto Firmino.
But with the kind of form he's been, Saha, do you think Foden deserves his place in the top 15 point
Like,
givers of the next 2 weeks?
like as of now, if you are looking for a city midfielder, I would not go near Foden right now. Yeah, but as Rahul said, in the long run, you can look at him because among those, among the city wingers, he's one of the nailed wingers. But since he's not in form right now, and there's a rotation risk as of now because we still haven't seen how Pep is going to use his assets because this is the first time there will be, and from here on till the World Cup, there will be midweek games in every week. So I think instead of jumping on the gun on him, you should just hold back on him, wait a bit, assess the situation, and then make a judgment on it.
So, guys, we've got a lot of analysis this week, a lot of data to fall back on, and it's very
Shweta,
understandable
just
because
one
we,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys about Welbeck. Like, I am keen on having him on in my team by let's say game weeks 6 or 7. What are your thoughts on him?
For me at least, like I think anybody in that Brighton team is a punt. I don't think anybody is sure to score a goal. I feel like it's more like it feels like it's the City of last season. You just don't know where the goals are coming from. I feel like they will score goals, they will create a lot of chances, but I just don't know who the goals are going to come from. It can come from Gross, it can come from Trossard, it can come from Welbeck, it can come from anywhere. So that's the only concern for me.
I actually agree
Shweta?
with Rahul here because see, I had Lallana from Brighton, and Lallana didn't end up playing this week. But actually, I also believe the same thing. See, my forward line right now is Watkins, Jesus, and Kane. Jesus and Kane, I'm not going to remove obviously, and Watkins is someone who gave me two really good game weeks. So I might want to stick with him. But yes, like Rahul said, like Naresh said, I do want a Brighton player in a midfielder or a forward in my team because again, you never know where the goal is coming from, and they're playing really exciting football right now, scoring in almost all the games now, and they have an exciting game week coming up also, you know. But yeah, so those are the changes which I might make. But like I was saying that this week we've had a lot of analysis and data, and this is how it is going to be moving forward because now we are warming up for the season. We've had 4 game weeks. We know slightly. We are getting the early images of what might happen. We are getting the trend set. So we guys are going to present you with a lot more data, a lot more information, which is going to help you in making your FPL teams with sound logic and ideas behind that. And but considering all that, Sah, you tell me, like you for me is the expert analysis guy here. What kind of changes would you be making in your team based on all these information?
In my team, yeah. So, like for this game week, I am bringing in a Leeds asset, not Rodrigo. Like, I like although like many people are jumping the gun on, I still have my reservations with him because Patrick Bamford is back in training, and with double fixtures, there like this is like Jesse Marsh might opt to give some minutes to him. So there's some minutes to Rodrigo. Aronson is a good shout, but I feel I had my eyes set on Jack Harrison from Gameweek 1, and I'm more than confirmed, like more than assured now that out of those three leaves assets, like he will be the most consistent one if you are to go for anyone. And for that reason only, like, I have him on my team, and I think I will keep him for the long run. And interestingly, although we don't have this as a creative, I was working in this on this in the last minute, and came up with this list. And I will just basically talk about the top six teams here, the big six teams basically, because and the other teams basically have less chance of rotation because they wouldn't be playing in Europe and other cup fixtures. So interestingly, when we taking this to time frame from game week 4 to 6, uh, Arsenal have the best period because their matches are split up in 8 days. Like from game week 4 to 5, they have a rest period of 96 hours. Then from game week 5 to 6, they have a rest hour of 91 hours. That means there is less possibility of being a rotation there because after both games, the Arsenal squad is getting 3 days of rest. Whereas if you look at the Chelsea squad, ahead of this game week 5 fixture, they are only getting 75 hours of rest. But their game week 6 fixture, they have a rest of 112 hours. So that makes a huge difference. That means, and it also means that if you have Chelsea assets in your squad, you are safe to keep hold of them in your playing 11. There's less chance of a rotation. And then if you quickly move to a Man City and a Liverpool, Liverpool and Man City both have a 99-hour gap between the Game Week 4 and Game Week 5 fixtures. However, the gap between Liverpool's Game Week 5 and Game Week 6 fixture is only 62 and a half hours, and the figure Game Week and Man City's rest period between Game Week 5 and 6 is only 68 hours. That means that is less than 3 days only, less than 3 days, which means if you are a Haaland owner, you should be worried about that, because that means there's a high possibility Haaland doesn't start the Aston Villa game. Then the next thing is Tottenham Hotspurs. They have a 73-hour gap between game week 4 and 5. Now Kane will play regardless, we know that. Son might get rotated since he's not in form. So Richarlison comes in. Kulusevski is safe on that left hand, so on that right hand side. And then for the game week 6 fixture, they have only a short period of 65 hours. That means if you have a Perisic in your squad, he becomes a risk for the game week 6 fixture. Because after the game week 6 fixture, just 2 days after that, they have the Champions League game. And I think since Conte has been talked about so much with his his inefficiency in cup games and not being able to do well in the European stage, I think he will take this group stage game seriously, and might drop a player like Perisic, just to keep him fresh for the Champions League games. And also interestingly, on the menu assets, since and I have picked on Manchester United because Anthony deal has been confirmed, and I feel this will create a bit of variance in the templates, because now, and just because Manchester United have the biggest fan base. We all know that, right? And in that way, there will be more Manchester United FPL managers too. So when Manchester United have bought in Anthony now, the more managers will be opting for Manchester United assets. So they will be letting go of their other assets. So this creates a bit of variance in the template, right? Now, before the Game Week 5 fixture, Manchester United have a 124-hour gap, which is the biggest rest
Hmm.
period among all the teams. So that
Hmm.
means that Ten Hag is likely to go with his usual team for that
Hmm.
Game Week 5 fixture. However, for
Yeah.
this Arsenal fixture, United only have a 65-hour gap window. Again, rotation comes in. United might be slightly weaker, whereas Arsenal get a full day more rest in that for the same fixture.
Hmm.
So this is how I think this will be very helpful for for navigating this rotational risks. I
I think
couldn't
I think
get this as a creative. I had this in a paper
no,
sheet.
but that's fine. That's fine. I think you've already given us a lot of information regarding this game week, and I think what the point with Saha is trying to make here is now is when the squad comes in.
Yeah,
It is
this
not
is the
just
time
about
to
the
have a squad
yeah.
depth.
This is a time for which we just not us, like for the Premier League managers, like they keep talking about how the league is won not by the first 11, it is won by the squad. It stands true for the FPL as well, you know. And like it's a crunch period for the Premier League, having so many game weeks in a short span of time, and which is something which is going to go on till the World Cup. I think it's a crunch week for the FPL managers as well. Keeping that in mind, Naresh, very quickly, if you want to make any changes in your goalkeepers, midfielders, forwards, whatever, any suggestions you have, depending on all the information that has been provided by us today.
See, the one change that I'd really like people to make is if you do have Son, yeah, you'd probably want to ship him out. But if you are a patient person, I think this is the only time you want to remain patient with him, because Spurs play a West Ham team that are not doing well, and then they go and play Fulham. And
Hmm.
if you are lucky and Antonio Conte sticks with Son for these games, you have a chance of Son firing. If you are a really patient person, stick with him, otherwise ship him out. But yeah,
I
that's
think
the one main one for me.
I think Conte is going to stick with him because I received a very interesting meme from our boss lady Akshata, who's the boss lady here at SportsKhabri. She sent me a very interesting meme where it's not actually a meme, it's a quote which Conte said, that if he's going to look for a
Hmm.
guy for his daughter, it's
Yeah,
going to
you are
be
looking for
someone
a
like a Son.
so like Son.
So I think Conte is not letting Son go anywhere. So yeah, I think we should all expect him to keep picking Son. But on that note, guys, it is one of the most interesting podcasts I have had since we started, because there was so much new analysis, information, and interesting tidbits, which is surely going to help me personally in making my team not just for this week but for the coming weeks. And to all our listeners, please follow us. Please listen to our podcast just for this reason, because this what you get here is something you might not be getting this analysis anywhere else, and this is going to help you in progressing in your FPL leagues, whichever leagues those are. We would like you to come join our league, Blood, Sweat, and Beers. The league is running right now with I think 900,000 people, and it's very interesting. People from our league should reach out to us because we want to get more people on the podcast, people who are playing in the league, just to hear their experiences, their analysis, what is going on behind them, behind their thought process. And yeah, I think you should also please follow Sports Khabri at all the platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, for these kind of interesting analysis, because these things are going to stick there, and you can just have a look at them whenever you are in doubt or you want to make a change in your team. But thank you so much. Thank you, Rahul Saha. Thank you, Rahul Naresh. It was lovely talking to you guys. I hope it helps the listeners as much as it is helping me, even though I'm not taking your advice as much as I should. But hopefully, I'll be doing that from the next game week. Uh, Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.